Alright, well, we're a few minutes early tonight, but we're getting ready. I've already upgraded the decks, but I decided that I would also like to talk a little bit about how I went through that process of upgrading the different things. So we're going to head over to Arkham DB, and if I move this up to the top, yep, there we go. So we can see some of my private decks. I've got a bunch of different ones in here, but we're working with the ones that we played yesterday. So to start with, we'll do Daisy. And so if we look at Daisy here, you can see I've added in a magnifying glass and two Old Book of Lores. As we spoke about yesterday, Old Book of Lore is one of her best cards. And so by upgrading it here, I reduced the cost from 3 to 2, and I added an ability to play the card that you draw and reduce the cost of that card by 2. So it's a whole bunch of extra action economy on top of reducing the cost. So um, effectively 1 money for it, 4 money from each of the charges, so it's 5 money is what you're getting for 3 XP. And since it's one of the core cards for Daisy, we're going to be trying to get it. We have the 2 copies of Old Book of Lore and the 2 research librarians to help us find it. With 1 XP left over after spending the 6, I just wanted to grab magnifying glass. I don't like leaving extra XP at the end because when you do that, you're just missing out on some power in the scenario that you're about to play. Sometimes it's worth it if you're going to be able to buy a particular upgrade or save for an upgrade that you really need for your character. But magnifying glass is very strong and we'll be happy to have it. It also reduces the cost from 1 to 0 and gains an additional ability where you can return it to your hand if there's no more clues on the location. There's a couple of reasons why you might want to do that. Maybe play another hand asset or use it to commit to a different kind of test that's not investigating. So Daisy's pretty straightforward, not too much to worry about there. So Roland, if we remember, has 1 mental trauma, which is noted in the deck name. He also acquired the Lita Chantler card, which is listed over here in the allies. So because we acquired Lita Chantler and we were playing guard dogs, the first thing I did was grab Charisma, that way we could have both allies at the same time. But I upgraded the guard dogs to Beat Cop, and the reason why I include Beat Cop is multi-layered. First, it gives you +1 fist. So when you're using combat in the game, each +1 that you add to your stat is a big change to how the bag interacts with you. So as you saw yesterday, a lot of my goals were to trivialize the bag so that no matter what I pulled besides the red squid, I would succeed on tests. I couldn't always do it, but the more you can do that, the better you are at succeeding. And so by adding another fist to Roland here with the Beat Cop, we're just pumping up our combat stat. It also gains a react ability, and that react ability is to deal damage to itself and to another enemy at your location. Again, if you remember yesterday, there were a few times where there was 1 remaining damage left on a monster that created some problems. This is a very easy way to solve that. It's not guard dog who needs to be hit first. He can proactively hit himself to hit the enemy, so he can do a little bit more soak. And speaking of soak, again, I said yesterday one of the important things that you're going to want to do is build for soak when you have the trauma that Roland has. So he's only starting with 4 blue health. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. I could put a card like Elder Sign Amulet, which gives you some horror soak. But by putting in Beat Cop, it has 2 horror instead of the 1 that was on the guard dog, and Lita also has 3 horror on her, or sanity rather, the ability to take horror. So these are mild soaky things that Roland can do in order to help, and by having 2 allies out at once, he gets additional options for soak. So that's the ideal scenario for me. So I put in the 2 Beat Cops, which is 4, and the 3 from the Charisma is 7, and that's how much XP we had from yesterday. So with all that said, we're now going to move into the game today. Alright. I've already built the decks in and drawn my opening hand. We're going to finish doing setup conveniently. The people who made this mod added this little setup button, so I click that, and what it's going to do for us is shuffle up everything. So we pulled a random south side and a random downtown, and then it spawned an acolyte with a doom on it per the rules. We're just going to shuffle the encounter deck because even though we clicked setup, it doesn't do that. This is a separate cultist deck, and we can start doing mulligans. As you can see, I figured out how to show both hands here, so it should be a little bit easier in between turns. Roland's going to be the lead investigator, and I found some of these neat player tools that I normally use but forgot about. So here's a hand helper, so it tells you how many cards you have, and you can see it gives you the option to discard random cards, so that will speed things up. And then if we're searching 3, 6, or 9 cards, you can use this to do it quicker. Charisma is a permanent ability, so it starts in play, and you can see here it says permanent, and it gives you an additional ally slot, like I said. So we have Lita, so we're going to be happy to keep her. One of the great things about Lita is she costs 0, so we don't need a lot of money. But we don't have a weapon, so we're going to keep Lita and get rid of the other 4 cards and see what pulls. Okay, so whenever you get a weakness in your opening hand, it must be set aside and replaced. Okay, well, we got a weapon. It's our signature weapon. We got a beat cop. This is a very strong opening hand. Okay. Wow. So yeah, Roland's going to be really strong in the beginning, so we're going to lean on him. And then, oh, okay, well, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. These are Roland's cards. So, alright, we're going to have to do it a little bit differently. But that's fine. So we put these back, and we put Roland's deck. So I can't draw 5 from the deck. What I have to do is use the draw 1 ability here, which is fine. So this is Daisy. So she has an Necronomicon, so that has to be replaced. So we'll draw another one. All right, we got Milan. We'll put him over here. We'll keep the magnifying glass. It's not the good one, but that's okay. And we'll get rid of these, and we'll draw 3 more. We have 2 Milans, which isn't perfect, but now we can use them for soak if we need to, and we'll be able to investigate. So now let's go into the book and make sure we do all the things that it says. So this is just telling us how to expend our experience. Like I said before, we upgraded some cards and made a couple of changes. If you need to see the exact rules for that, you can check that in the rule book. But yeah, so that was that, and now we're into the Midnight Masks. Lita was not forced to help others to find her cause, so we'll skip to Intro 2. Intro 2 is just Lita telling us where to go, and we go to Intro 3, which is us finding out that there's going to be a meeting tonight, and we have to do some interviews to find out what's going on in town. So again, playing on Tabletop Simulator, all of this stuff is gathered for us. This deck is over on the side here. Where'd it go? Oh, well, this is good to see as well. Okay, and then did I also make the other player draw the cards? Alright, I'm glad I saw this now. Alright, I think that's it. I don't think this player drew. Oh, they did. And they drew cards from Daisy's deck. This is weird. I don't know what I did. So let's group these up. Yeah, so this is just me learning how to play with this software a little bit, so apologize in advance for that mistake. But here we go. So the cultist deck is over here. This gets shuffled up as random. This is the encounter deck. And that's all taken care of. And then we're in here. So when I hit the setup button, it picked the downtown and south side for me, removed the other ones from the game, and put everything else into play. If there's 2 players, it puts the acolyte, which it's done for me. Check your campaign log. If your house is burned to the ground, remove your house from the game and instead begin at Rivertown. So we did burn our house down, so our house gets removed from the game, and we're going to begin at Rivertown. So that's where the investigators are going to go. 1 and 2. Okay. And then what else do we have? It is not still standing, so we can skip that part. Shuffle the encounter deck, which we did. The Ghoul Priest is not still alive, so we don't have to worry about that. So this is just talking about location placement. So this is just telling us where to put the things. So again, the setup is done for us. And you can see here, not every location is connected. So in the last one, things that we're touching was always connected, but you can see here, downtown and Rivertown are not connected. And there's no cross map from St. Mary's to Rivertown, but there is one from the Miskatonic University to Southside. In order to advance this agenda, we must find as many unique cultist enemy as we can. If we can ever find 6 of them in the display, we can advance. So there's only 5 in this deck, so there must be another one somewhere. So it could be in the encounter deck or somewhere else that we'll be told. Maybe it's set aside. The investigators spend 2 clues as a group to get the top cultist card from this deck. So basically, every 2 clues you can use an action to find a cultist, and then you can figure out how you want to resolve that cultist. There's 6 turns on this agenda, and then there's a second agenda behind it. So we'll shuffle that one more time, and we are ready to begin. This Acolyte, when he comes into play, he gets a Doom on it, so we're starting out with 1 of 6. So we're not crazy rushed, but we don't want to let him sit there for too long. But the first thing we'll do is we'll play Daisy's turn. So she'll play Dr. Christopher Milan, 1, 2, 3, 4, getting a book. She'll play a magnifying glass, and then she'll investigate her location. As you can see here, I put the taboo on, so it says mutated, and that we exhaust Dr. Christopher. So this is what I was saying yesterday about the taboo. So we succeed. So it's 6 minus 1 is 5, and the shroud is 1. So 5 to 1 is 4. So we pass. We'll exhaust him and gain a money and get a clue. And then we'll just investigate again. We can't play a second Dr. Christopher, aside from the fact that we don't have the money, we don't have an ally slot. And you can see next to his name there's a little star. That asterisk means that he is a unique ally, or a unique item if it's in front of an item. And you can only have 1 on the table per group. So it's very important to keep track of that if you ever play multiplayer with your friends. You want to make sure that you speak for any of the unique items or allies. So yeah, we'll just investigate again. So we are 7 to 1, so we're plus 6. We got the rogue this time, so we're going to have to see what the rogue is. We're just going to bring this down so we don't have to always scroll up to find out. And we'll check the rogue out. So it's -2, and then place doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Now that's not conditional on failing, so that's going to happen. So we are going to pass the test, but we're going to put another doom on the Acolyte. So since we passed the test, we get the clue, but Dr. Chris is already exhausted, so we can't get another one. So we've taken all the clues off the location. If we had another action, we could potentially do this, but we don't want to go searching for cultists before we're fully set up. So now we're going to do... Oh, how did I get more cards in my hand? Oh, this is more Daisy cards. Oh, no. Alright, these 4 cards should be in Daisy's deck, because I pressed draw 4. Oh, no. Alright. Okay. We should be okay now. So the first thing we're going to do is spend an action to play Lita. Be mindful of Lita's ability. It's only functional when you are hitting monsters. So the cultists are not monsters. And then we know that the Acolyte is not going to happen this turn, so we don't need to rush down there to do that. So we're going to play our gun now in case we draw another monster that could be a bigger problem. This is our special from last night. If there's clues on the location, you get +3 combat, which is a lot, and it'll always deal +1 damage, so that's really strong. And then with our final action, we're going to play emergency cash to get some money. So that's our first turn. So now we're going to go to upkeep. So if we click upkeep, he gets his flashlight. She gets a flashlight as well. Doom on the agenda, so it's 3 of 6, 1 on the agenda itself, and then 2 on the Acolyte. That's what that's signifying. Then the lead investigator, who is Roland, draws a card. He has to put this Acolyte in any empty location, so we don't want to put it in the university, because that's probably where Daisy's going to go, so we'll put it over here at the hospital, because we already have to go down the south side to take care of this monster. And then Daisy gets one. Daisy gets a night going. Alright, so we're just pulling them all. Alright, this is a monster, so that's relevant for Lita's ability. It'll deal an extra damage. And then I get a fist, and they get a fist because we're both with Lita. Alright, so both abilities have occurred. Roland's going to go first. We don't want to risk hurting Daisy, and we have the actions to wait, so we're going to, actually first we're going to play Beat Cop, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do that for a couple of reasons. One, it gives us another combat, and 2, it gives us the ability to use the react ability to deal a damage. So we're going to take the Night Gaunt over here, and then we're going to shoot it with our pistol. So there's no clues on this location that we're at, but we do get 6 fight, so 4 from our base, 1 from Lita is 5, 1 from the Beat Cop is 6, and then an additional 1 from the gun is 7. So we're +4, which is what we needed. So that will deal 1 damage from Lita, 1 damage from the gun, and 1 damage from the base attack, so that's 3. And then we're going to exhaust Beat Cop. to put a damage on him, to put another damage on the Night Gaunt, which will kill it. We could react, but there's no clues here, but we have dealt with the problem, which is good. So that was all three of our actions. We did an engage. Sorry, we did beat cop, engage, fight. So over here it's Daisy's turn. There's a whole bunch of bad guys down there, so she doesn't want to play with that, so she's going to head over to the University. University has 4 Shroud and says you can search the top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or spell card and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. It also has Victory. Well, she still doesn't have her Old Book of Lore, so this seems like a great time to go searching. So that's action 1 was move, action 2 is peeky peeky. We have found Old Book of Lore, so we will take it, and then you click End Search, and then you put the book into your hand. Where did it go? Oh. Alright, I'll have to figure out how to disable that. That's fine. Old Book of Lore costs 2, so we put it into play. That's a third action, but we're our Daisy, and it's a tome, so we can use it, and we look at the top 3 cards of our deck. 1, 2, 3. We could play Emergency Cash right now and save an action, but it costs 0, so it's really not effective. So instead we're going to take Unexpected Courage to commit to a test that we might need. And we don't want to put a second Old Book of Lore into play. It's kind of redundant, and it's only going to be effective if we've used both of these charges and needed to play something else, so it's probably not going to happen. But that's all three of Daisy's plus her book action, so she's done. We're going to go to the upkeep phase. So Roland will play upkeep. So you see here the beat cop didn't ready, and that's because it's on top of the charisma. So what I'm just going to do is just move Lita on top of the charisma because she doesn't exhaust, and then put the beat cop over here. That way he'll automatically ready during the upkeep step. And then we'll do this. Okay, that's more soak for her. So that's good. We'll put this on. So now we're at 5 of 6. So next turn we're going to advance if we don't kill any of these cultists. So that's Roland's job on the next turn. So we're going to do encounter cards. Alright, Roland's making a foot test, and he's by himself, so he's probably failing. So we'll attempt it. We're testing at -2, so we cannot pass. We fail. We take a damage and a horror, so we're going to put a horror on the beat cop like we were talking about before, and we'll take the damage. We could put it on Lita, but we'll wait for now. Then we have to move to a central location. Conveniently, we already are at the only central location, so that's taken care of. Next thing we do is Daisy gets an encounter card. She drew a bad guy. So this is unfortunate. Oh, it stays on her. Because Roland's tied up and he really needs to clean up this Acolyte, so we're going to do that. So Roland's going to move down. We're going to use the beat cop to deal a second damage to it, to deal 1 damage to the Acolyte. And the reason we're doing that is because it's an actionless way to kill. And then we're going to move up with our second. So first action was moving. We fast actioned the beat cop, and then we're moving again, and then we're going to engage the Night Gaunt out of Daisy. We're going to get hit for the 1 and the 1, but we're going to let Daisy play her turn. And as a thank you, Daisy's going to use her Old Book of Lore for us and let us go searching through our deck because we're low on cards and she has a bunch. So based on the things that are going on right now, the most important card out of this pile is likely going to, oh, he could want, yeah, we'll give him Guts, that way he's better in case we get one of those brain tests. The clue stuff's important. Oh, I should have reacted with Roland. I didn't flip over Southside. So I'm gonna back it up real quick because I skipped some things. So when I was in Southside with the Acolyte, when I used the beat cop to kill him, I'm able to then react with Roland to take a clue from the location. So 100% we're going to do that, and then we're going to move up and engage the Night Gaunt. I had forgotten to do that yesterday. I almost forgot again today. I was so worried about Daisy getting hit that I focused on the wrong thing. Yeah, so that's fixing that. We gave the Guts to Roland, so Daisy still has 3 actions left. None of the cards in her hand are super exciting for anything, and she doesn't need a book or a spell, so she can start investigating. So she's testing 7 to 4, which is +3, and we're comfortable at +3. So we'll test. There's going to be another Doom going on a cultist, but she'll succeed and get the clue. React with Dr. Chris to get a money. We'll investigate again. We did not fail. -3 is still a pass, so we get a second clue. And then we'll test, where are we at? We should be 4. So if we pull a cultist here, we would advance. So the odds of pulling a cultist are 1. 1 in 16. That's very small. It's like 6% or 7%. We'll pull. We'll investigate. So we're 7 to 4, so +3. The highest number of doom is currently 2, so we pass. So we'll take another clue, this time from the university. So we'll go to the monster phase. In the monster phase, we get attacked. Lita will soak the 1 and 1 for us. And then this monster is not a hunter, as the others were not either. And so we will go to upkeep. We can click upkeep for Roland. And we had investigated twice. And then we upkeep for Daisy. Doom on the agenda. 5 of 6. Bad thing for Roland. He must spend a clue or take 2 damage. We're pretty easily getting clues, and damage is a concern. It would not be crazy to take 2 damage here, though. But I like to mitigate when I can, so we'll do that. Obscuring Fog makes this location get +2 shroud. So this is already hard at 4. Now it's going to be a 6 shroud location, so we're probably going to have to use some extra stuff for it. Or we could do something that doesn't necessarily do an investigation. So Roland's going to fight the Hunting Night Gaunt. He is testing 6. We'll use the gun, so we'll be 9 because this location has clues. So we succeed. So once again, we do 1 base damage, an additional damage from the gun, and an additional react damage from Lita. So that's 3 total, and then we can react with the Beat Cop here to do a final damage to him to kill the Night Gaunt, and then we can use Roland's ability to get the clue. So we are avoiding the Obscuring Fog by just not engaging at all with the investigation. We just took it. So that was action 1. Action 2 is going to be to move down because we need to resolve this monster. We'll flip it over and see that there are clues on the location. So we're going to use our gun once more. So we get +3 fight from our gun. So we're testing, we lose a fist because the Beat Cop died. But we're testing 8 to 3, so we're +5. So there's 2 doom, so that's a success. Now we can't react twice with Roland, but we're killing 2 doom. So in effect, what we're doing is taking 2 turns back from the game. So that's all 3 of Roland's actions. He doesn't get an extra one. He's down to 1 bullet, so we're going to have to play our pistol next turn if we get a chance to. So now it's Daisy's chance to play. So she has 2 choices. She can either go up to the top side of the map or come down by Roland. We see here that healing damage is possible, so we'll just stay close to the bottom in case other things happen. We don't need to find another ally. We already have Dr. Chris and a backup Dr. Chris and a research librarian, and it's only 2 shrouds, so I think Roland can get those clues. So we're actually going to head up. So we're going to go over here to north side. We can spend money to get clues from the token pool, which is neat. But we can just test this. So we're going to be 7 book to 3, so we're +4. So first we move. Before we test, let's use Old Book of Lore. Roland's on the other side of the world, so we'll let him hang out over there. We'll grab Guts. Okay, I have to remember that I can't just press 1. If you're playing by yourself, either solo or as your only player, you press 1 and it goes to your hand, but now it's going to the other players. So this is Daisy's turn. She's +4, so we'll make the investigation. So with the rogue, you would put a doom on a cultist, but there are no cultists, so that doesn't happen, but we do get a clue. And then when you get a clue with Dr. Chris for the first time in a turn, you can react to get an additional money. And then from here, none of these cards are going to be helpful. We don't need... So I could emergency cash here to have extra money after doing this, but I don't think I need to do that. I'm not worried about discarding cards. That's fine. So we'll just investigate, and we'll succeed. So we'll take another clue, this from the north side. Okay. So that was all three. We did move, investigate, investigate. So once again, we can do upkeep. There's no monsters. And now we can see for the first time we have 9 cards in our hand, so we'll need to discard a card. So basically we have to figure out what card is the least valuable, and it's going to be the Research Librarian because we already have Old Book of Lore, and we don't need Soak because we're perfectly healthy and have 2 Dr. Milans. And then we have to fix Roland's card. He got Working a Hunch, which is neat. So we'll put a Doom on the agenda, so we're 4 of 6. And then we will draw encounter cards. So Roland gets his encounter card. He has to test Brain 4. So it's a good thing we got that Guts from before. And we're going to throw in Unexpected Courage. So that's +4. So he's +3 to the test. So 7 to 4. He succeeds. So when you succeed with Guts, you draw a card. I did that again. Alright, so how does he have a magnifying glass? That's in her deck. So that's his. Oh, when I drew cards before, I didn't put them all back in the right place. Alright, well this is a little messed up, but we'll just do the best we can with it. That's fine. Luckily, they mostly have the same cards, so it's not too bad, but yeah, this is just a mistake of playing on the app and not understanding what the buttons do sometimes. Yeah, and that's an Unexpected Courage. That's likely hers. Okay. Wait, what? I don't. Alright. Well, this is a little messed up, but we're going to keep playing, doing the best we can. So he had one, and he played it, and she has the other one in her hand. So that's the correct places they're supposed to go to. And we'll just shuffle this, and we'll shuffle this. Alright. So Roland passed his test, so now we're doing Daisy's bad thing. She must spend a clue or take 2 damage, and again, we're just going to spend the clue. We have plenty of them. We're getting close to the point where we can start using the ability to see where the cultists are. So the first thing we'll do is we'll let Roland go. He needs to play his pistol, like we said. And then we'll investigate the location. So we have 3. We're going to play Perception to have 5. And then we can also commit Flashlight to have 6. So we'd be +4, so that's very likely to pass. There's no Doom on Cultists, so we succeed. We committed Perception, so we draw. I did it again. That goes there, that goes there, and this goes here. Alright, so we got Roland's weakness from the Perception. We have to take the clue because we got that already. His weakness was Cover Up. So I talked about this a few times yesterday. So the way that works is it comes into play with 3 clues. Whenever you would discover a clue at your location, instead you discover the clues from Cover Up. If the scenario ends and there are still clues on it, you suffer mental trauma, which is very, very bad, and you don't want that to happen. So we played our pistol, and then we did an investigate. So what we're going to do now is investigate again. 5 to 2 is +3. And we're going to, instead of taking it from the location, take it off of Cover Up. And that's Roland's turn. So now we'll head over to Daisy's turn. We were a little bit more excited about doing the cultists a second ago, but now things are a little sketchier, so let's just do some stuff at Northside. Let's drop down our Holy Rosary, increasing our brain stat, and also just giving us another asset. We'll use our Old Book of Lore to see what's here. Interesting, I definitely shuffled. Well, once again, just getting used to the system. All the shortcuts that you have playing solo are a little bit different when you're playing with open-handed as 2 different players. But anyway, so we're here. We're going to investigate. We are +4, so we're good. Success, get a money, and then I'm just going to shortcut a second test. Success, so I'll take both of these clues. Alright, so I have 8, Roland has 2. We have all the clues that we need for these guys. So it's definitely time to start looking at it, and we're about to flip the agenda, so we're probably going to want to get together soon, maybe? We'll see. Alright, so after we finish our turn, we go to the monster phase. There is no monsters, so then we do Roland did another investigate, and she did 2 investigates. So we'll do upkeep for that, and upkeep for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once again, she has to discard, and we can discard flashlight as our hands are currently full. And we don't need, or not flashlight. We'll add a Doom to the agenda, 5 of 6, and then encounter cards. Attached to the location with the most clues. So there's a tie here, so we get to decide whenever there's a tie. So we're going to pick the one that we're not here, that we're not at, although you could break it down with the fist check. Then Daisy gets to go. If you have no clues, it gains Surge. If you have 1 or more, test Book 4. And for every point you fail by, put a clue back down. So we are 6. This is not an investigation. So we'll commit Perception to be 8, which is the entirety of the bag. We'll succeed, and she'll draw a card. Alright, so Roland's going to go. He's going to investigate the location at +3. There's no cultist in play to put a Doom on. And then this way we don't have to worry about anything. We're just going to play Working a Hunch as a fast to remove the final clue, and just like that, we're all done with Cover Up. Since it's fast, it doesn't require any actions, and that lets Roland spend his 2 actions meeting up with Daisy. I left the clue here because we don't need it per se. As you can see, there's no victory on this location, there's no victory on this location, so getting those clues only helps us to find more cultists, but we don't need to do that anymore, so we're just going to come up here. So now it's Daisy's turn. And she's going to want to play her tote bag, which lets me put the book over here, freeing up a hand slot. She's going to also want to, I guess, get 3 money. 1, 2, 3, and draw a card. Alright, well now she has great encounter deck protection, so that's good. So she played Emergency Cash, played her tote book, and drew a card. And then we're going to use Old Book of Lore on Roland because he's all out of cards. And so there's a bunch of neat things that he could potentially get. So we're going to give him the deduction. That way, if we need stuff, we can get it. If we need more clues for some reason, although we probably didn't need a deduction. We could have probably taken physical training. We just don't have any money to use physical training. Alright, so that's all of Daisy's actions. So then we go to upkeep. He got first aid, which is good. That's going to be good like we used it yesterday. Daisy hit Mind Over Matter, also good. So Doom on the agenda, that's 6. We're going to reset and flip. It's a bad guy! Just like yesterday when we advanced, we found a bad guy. So he engages on the person with the most clues. That person's going to be Daisy. He gets an additional +2 health per investigator. So it says 4, but really it's 8. And while you're engaged with him, you cannot discover or spend clues. Alright, so that was the agenda advancing. So now we have to do encounter cards. We do have clues, so we must test book 4. So we are -1. This is not upgraded, so she can't use it on his cards. So she'll commit this to be +1, and we'll go +2 on the test. We succeed, we get +0, but it's enough to pass. And then she draws hers. Okay. And it's to go to an empty location. So this is not an empty location, and this is not, but any of the others are. We'll probably go this way, so we'll put him over there. So she's drawn her encounter card. This has an ability at the end of the Mythos phase to add a Doom to it, so we can just grab it from up here. And there we are. So we have a couple of different ways we can go about this. Due to the fact that the Masked Hunter has 8 life, it's unlikely that I'd be able to kill it in one turn and engage it. So what I'm going to have Daisy do is she's going to go first and play Mind Over Matter as a fast. She's going to now use her book instead of her feet or fist to make tests. And we're going to do an evasion check. So this is the first time we're going to do that. So when you do that, you test your feet against the enemy's feet. However, because of mind over matter, we're going to use our book. So we're 6 to 2, so we're +4, and that's the number that's perfect. So we'll just do that. We succeed, and so whenever you evade a monster, it gets unengaged from you and becomes exhausted at the location that you're at, which is north side, and that does take an action. Now that we're no longer engaged with the monster, it's a good idea to consider using our old book of lore, so we will. And we will give it to Roland because he has no cards. Wonderful, we got Vicious Blow, we got Overpower. We're going to take Vicious Blow because it increases our damage inside of 1 round, and that might get us to a breakpoint that we need to get to. How much life do you have? You have 2 life. If we move in there and fight, that would only be 1, so we can't kill you. So instead, what we're going to do now is use Daisy to fight the masked hunter using our fist again, because until the end of the round we can use our book. So it's actually going to be 6 to 4, so it's +2, and then Roland can commit Vicious Blow to make it +3, and she can commit one of the Ward of Protections to make it +4. Red Squid of Doom, so it does no damage at all. And then we'll just punch at +4 again. So we're just going to add 1 damage from her attack. Just trying to get us out of combat faster by doing extra damage. The misses really hurt because it was on the Vicious Blow attack, so we lost 2 damage instead of just 1. So for Roland's turn, there's no clues on this location, so we're just going to use the regular 45. So he's 6 to 4, which is +2. There's no doom, so that's a success. So that's 2 more damage. And then we will shoot again. Oh, we did 2 attacks. All right, that's a miss. So unfortunately, even when you miss, you still lose the charge. And that's also a miss. So this is not looking great all of a sudden. And this is not a monster, this is a cultist, so we cannot use the react with Lita to do extra damage. Alright, so now we do upkeep. Oh, sorry, we don't do upkeep yet. I skipped ahead. Well, we'll just leave it there. The monster readies, and then when it's readies, it has to engage, and it chooses its prey, which once again is going to be Daisy. But then we get to do our upkeep, and she gets to do her upkeep. This is not a hunter, so it stays there, and we put a doom on the agenda and draw an encounter card. I thought I clicked it, and we draw an encounter card. We will definitely spend a clue because things are not going the way that we want them to. And then this location gets extra shroud, which is fine. Alright, so yeah, and then we have to put another doom onto the Wizard of the Order. So Roland's going to go first and engage the masked hunter. And he's going to start punching, or shooting. So he's +2. That's a success. We'll shoot again. Also a success. And then we'll just punch for 1. We're only +1, but there's not much else we can... Oh, no, sorry. So engage, fight, fight. That's all the things that Roland can do. So he's actually finished. So it's Daisy's turn. We're going to use Old Book of Lore. So here, we're going to again use it on Roland to try to help him out. He needs another weapon, and he needs some other stuff. So none of this stuff is going to help him with fighting, but dodge will give him some safety. He won't get the damage, so we'll take that. So that uses our Old Book of Lore. And then nothing else that's here is going to be helpful. So we're going to spend... Oh, God. Alright, I was trying to pick up 2 clues to spend on cultists. But instead what I did was draw 2 clues to every hand. So, cool. Once again, just making a small error based on using all the shortcuts I have for playing by myself are not working. Playing as one investigator, rather. Alright, so we put those 2 clues away, and we draw a card from the cultist deck. Ruth Turner spawns at the hospital, and she wants somebody to evade her to go to the victory display, or she can just be fought. So we'll do that again. Take these two clues and see what's behind this one. Herman Collins is in the graveyard. Alright, so there is one that could spawn here at north side, and we don't want that one to find us, so we will not click one more time. As such, we will just draw a card. I did it again. Oh, one day I will remember how to do this correctly. But that's fine. So we drew another old book of lore, which isn't super helpful. But that was our turn. So monsters, now we get attacks. This says whenever a monster would attack you, cancel that attack, or attack an investigator at your location. So we're going to spend 1 money and cancel the attack from the the masked hunter, and then we'll go to the upkeep step. We drew a machete, which is great because we're going to need that. We put a doom on the agenda. We draw the encounter card. Put 2 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Well, this is a cultist enemy, so we're going to take, not damage. That would be ideal. I'll put 2 doom on it. Okay. And then she draws hers, which is this. So this would go to that location. And that's fine. We don't need to get any more clues from here, so we don't have to play water protection. So now it's roll. Oh, I canceled the attack. Yeah. So unfortunately, we only have 2 money because we played dodge, so we can't do something good. So Daisy's going to go first and try to help us. She's going to use Old Book of Lore and try to find a card that will help us succeed the test. So Overpower would be ideal, but we'll take Vicious Blow. Alright. Unfortunately, none of this is going to help with combat, which is what Roland needs. So let's draw a card and see if we can find Unexpected Courage or something like that. I did it again. Alright, there is a draw 1 button card that's right there that I just need, or button. Draw 1 button that I just to be pressing. Alright. So that was action 1. Action 2 is to spend the clues. We need to advance the game state in case things don't go the way we want. He spawns in downtown, which is over here, and whenever he attacks, he heals. So he's okay. Oh, and we're gonna die if we don't get rid of that doom. Super neat. All right. So that was 2, and we have 1 more action. So we'll draw a card once again, trying to find. I did it. And that should be in Roland's deck. Okay. Alright, so it's Roland's turn. He's going to fight the masked hunter. So he will just... we're going to use Vicious Blow here to get the extra +1. And go for it. So we are 5, 6, 7. 7 minus 4 is 3, right? Because it's, yeah. 5, 6, 7. Yep. So we still succeed, and therefore we don't place a clue down. So I'm just going to put him in here to go put him into the victory display. Oh, why didn't that work? Does that work? No. Okay. Weird. I probably should have just clicked the thing that sends him here, but that's fine. So he goes right to the victory display. And that was action 1. Action 2 is going to be to get money, and then action 3 is going to be to play the machete. And we're going to get rid of our special. That way, if we get a chance to shuffle through our deck, which seems unlikely now, we'll be able to get it back. But we have a machete to do some combat. So that was our turns. So we do upkeep and upkeep. She has 9 cards, so she'll discard the librarian. Oh, she has 10 now. Probably deduction. And doom on the agenda. Encounter cards. Alright, well, he has the automatic to discard, so he'll just take it straight. It had no more bullets, so it wasn't going to be effective anyway. This would put doom on a cultist, but we're at a point now where we can't afford that, so we'll block it and put the horror onto Dr. Milan. And then, yes, that's all that happens there. Alright, so what we're going to do now is a little bit advanced. We're going to do something where Daisy's going to engage both of the monsters, and then Roland's going to take one off of her. The reason for that is because we need to be able to get the bonus attack combat from the machete. So Daisy has to go first. Again, Roland's hand is the weakest, so we're going to give him the Old Book of Lore, which uses this. So that's 1, 2, 3. On the off chance that we get to play the weapon, we're going to put it in Roland's hand. We might need that, and then we'll go like this. And then action 2 for her is going to be to get the final cultist into play. Or sorry, action 1. Oh, there's 2 more. Okay. So Peter Warren is at the university. What does he want? He wants 2 clues. Oh, so we might need extra clues. So that was action 1. We can't afford to risk pulling the one that's here, so we'll just play emergency cash, and then we're going to move into downtown. So she takes the Wizard of the Order and Wolfman Drew. So now it's Roland's turn. Roland's now going to follow her in. He's going to engage the Wizard of the Order and then attack with the machete. We're going to commit the automatic, actually, because we need to kill this guy. Otherwise, the game's going to end here, and things are bad. Oh, I forgot to put another Doom on him. So we are testing 5, 6, 7. We're +3. The Rogue puts a Doom on the nearest cultist. This counts, and then we succeed the test, so we kill it. So we just bought ourselves a whole bunch of extra time. Otherwise, it would have been real bad. So that was all 3 of his actions. He moved, he engaged, and he fought. Wolfman Drew is still on Daisy, so he's going to attack, and he does 2 physical damage. So she'll take 2. He would heal 1 damage, but he hasn't been hit at all yet, so that's not a thing that's going to happen. So we just go right to upkeep. And then Roland gets his upkeep. We put a Doom on the agenda, and then we do encounter cards. So the Acolyte has to go to an empty location. We'll put him over here. None of these are empty because they have things in them, so it's only these 2 that were optional. And then she draws hers, which is potentially to go back to the beginning. Alright, well that actually is going to help us. So we're going to hope to fail. We do fail. So when you fail, you take 1 damage and 1 horror, which is fine. 1, 1. And then you disengage from each non-Nightgaunt enemy. So this is not a Nightgaunt, it's a humanoid cultist. And then go to a central location, which is right here, back in the river town. And that's that. And then because this is a monster and it's with Roland, he'll actually engage Roland. And since we have machete, that saves us an action of having to engage him. So Roland will go first, and we'll just attack. Once again, we're 6-4, which is +2. Oh, and when I killed the guy last turn, when I killed him, I could react and take a clue from downtown, so I will. I forgot about that. But this will put a Doom on him, but it'll also be a success. Action 2 will be to fight, and that will kill him, and then we'll react and take another clue. And then since he's a cultist, he goes to the special place. And we will play evidence to take a 3rd clue as a fast. You can only play that when you defeat an enemy at your location. And then finally, we will draw a card with our last action. I did it. My goodness. So the last card here. And the last card here. Alright, so that was Roland's 3 actions. And so now it's Daisy's turn. Daisy got moved to the center, and she has no clues, so she needs to do something that's not clue related. Herman Collins wants us to discard 4 cards. Well, we have plenty of cards, so let's go do that. So we head on over here to the graveyard. After you enter the graveyard, test Brain 3. If you fail, take 2 horror or move back. Well, luckily we have Guts, so we'll commit that. So we'll be 6. We'll commit Fearless to be 7. The test is 3, so that's +4. We will succeed. We do have to put a Doom on the nearest cultist, and we will choose Herman Collins. We heal a horror from Fearless, and we draw a card from Guts. I did. All right. I have to spend a lot of time playing two-handed. I mostly play with somebody else, and that's why I have all these shortcuts imprinted in my brain. But in any case, so we got all the cards. Yep. So we can be here. So we choose and discard any 4 cards from our hand. So we'll do Flashlight, Flashlight, Dr. Malone, Christopher, and Old Book of Lore as 4. And that's going to let us put Herman Collins in the victory display by doing that action. So we did move and then the action, and then this location has victory, so we're going to deduction and investigate. Red Squid of Doom, of course, why not? And then we'll Old Book of Lore. We'll take the extra magnifying glass and put it right into play because this is the upgraded one, so it only costs 0. But yeah. Alright, so that's all of our actions. We go to the monster phase. This doesn't hunt, and neither of these are hunters, so we just go and do upkeep. And upkeep. Alright, Doom on the agenda, 6 of 8, so we don't advance. Bad thing for Roland. He gets another Acolyte, so the only legal target is here. And then bad thing for her. She has to make a book check, so she'll use Perception. She'll be +4. She'll pass. We click Draw 1 instead. We are learning slowly. Several failures, but that's okay. Alright, and Roland's readied. Okay. So we're at this location. We're going to spend 2 money as a fast to play Working a Hunch to get the last clue from this location. And then Roland will move into Easttown and take the Acolyte that's here. And then he will fight. Oh, let's make sure we don't have to do anything for Easttown. While you're here, allies cost less. That's fine. So we'll fight. We are 6. We're going to go 8. That way we don't fail. We will succeed, and we draw 1. Once again, remembering to press the right button. And by killing a Doom, that's really helpful. So we moved, and we fought. And then we can react and take a clue. Yeah, so that's pretty good. We have no money, so we should probably just grab a money here in case we need to play first aid or dodge or something. Alright, so that was Roland's turn. So now it's Daisy's turn. She'll investigate the location. She's +1,000,000, so she succeeds, and she succeeds. So she'll take 3 clues. We're going to react with Dr. Christopher to take a money. I just shortcut it. There we go. As you can see, she really needs the money. But we're just trying to get that last victory point. Okay. And then we'll use Old Book of Lore. Oh, we're going to lose all the money anyway. That's funny. And then that's supposed to be in Roland's deck. So we'll do that. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's pretty close to almost all of her cards, right? I think maybe one's wrong. Alright, so that was all of our turns. We did investigate, and he did, he got a money with his last. He did move and fight. So there's no monsters to hunt, so we just have upkeep for her, so she loses all of her resources. He does upkeep for... Oh, let's just draw 1, so we'll do that, and that... I thought I shuffled, but maybe not. Alright. So then, Doom on the agenda, 7 of 8. Bad thing for Roland is another Acolyte. This is now an empty location, so it's become a legal place. And she has this test again. Huzzah. So she fails. She'll take 1 damage and 1 horror and move back to the middle, which then gets her engaged with the Acolyte. And none of that is good, but it is what it is. I didn't click. Oh, I did. I healed it before. Alright. So we've now hit the point where we need to get out this turn because we can't kill more Doom than we'll find. So we're going to have Daisy move over as action 1. That gets her an attack of opportunity, which will be put on Dr. Chris. She will parlay to spend 2 clues. 1, 2. Parlay does not provoke an attack of opportunity. To put Peter Warren into the display. And then finally, she'll use the resign function, which also does not give attacks of opportunity. So she moved, parlay, resigned. And then when she leaves play, he goes into play here, although it should not matter. Alright. Roland has 2 actions effectively, and none of them are going to do anything that I need. So I guess what we do is we spend 2 clues to see if this person wants to be here. But they are at north side, which is over there, and they wanted money. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to do that, so we'll just click out the resign button as well. So Roland leaves as well. So Roland and Daisy are gone. And we did okay. We got 4 of the cultists, and there's 6, so we got most of them. Aside from all of my errors with drawing, things went great. So if no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated, read resolution 1. We got some invaluable information, check the cultists that we interrogated, and record the name of each unique one in the display. So I'm just going to bring the book over here for sake of ease. We interrogated Herman Collins. We interrogated Peter Warren. I remember we did Wolfman Drew, and we got the Masked Hunter. So who got away was Victoria Devereaux. And Ruth Turner. Alright, so we logged everything correctly. It is not Agenda 1, so that's good. The Ghoul Priest was not in the display, but he was not still alive, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we get the victory equal to the display. And we did not do Resolution 2, so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, so we get 8 victory, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did not get the one over here from the graveyard, and we missed out on the 2 from over here. So we could have had 3 more experience, but we did pretty well. 8's a good number. We had a couple of red squids that really hurt us, and some encounter card drawing timing misfortune. So it happens. Sorry again for all the drawing mistakes. I'll try to iron it out the more I play. Hope everyone had a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.